Ubisoft are a company I generally don't bother with much. They're not particularly nice, and the one game they keep making is competent enough, but several other companies make better versions of it. However, their Rocksmith series of games is different. Nobody else makes games quite like them. Sure, Musician exists, but that's a lot drier, and the main draw of Rocksmith is its incredibly readable tab system. Where Musician just shows strings and a number, Rocksmith actually shows you where on the neck it is and what chord shapes are coming, and making it entirely possible to sight read a song you've never played, or maybe even heard before, and that's the magic of that system really. So we come to the latest game in the series, Rocksmith Plus. And the big change now is that it's subscription based. I doubt there are going to be many people seeing that as a positive, but if they've made good on their repertoire of over 5,000 songs, then it could be worth it for the content alone. So do they make good on that? Not really, no. You see, they've artificially inflated the amount of songs by having chord chart arrangements. Arrangements where you don't actually play the song, you can just strum along in the same key. The kind of thing that anyone who's owned a guitar for more than 6 months can figure out by themselves. And they have these riff-based tracks. Want to strum along with Ozzy's cover of 21st Century Schizoid Man? We got you covered. Oh, you want to learn the actual riff? Go jump in a lake. That's not to say these aren't fun. You can have fun with them, but are you going to learn how the song's played? Are you going to learn that epic melodic lead? No. So the question is, by how much is this inflated? Well, if you look on the search for all tracks, all the arrangements, you get the amazing number of 7,334. However, reduce that to lead, you get 818. Really quite a drop. Now let's try rhythm and you're at 127. So if I was being incredibly generous, that's 945. However, a number of tracks will be doubled up here, so it'll have lead and rhythm arrangements, so the real number is probably closer to 900. You could say, well, that's still a lot, and if it's all quality stuff, then that's great. Yeah, about that. So the really good stuff you could get as DLC is pretty much gone. I suspect that since they couldn't attach royalties to the subscription model, unlike the DLC for Rocksmith 2014, artists have been a bit less forthcoming with their work. So you'll get entire albums by bands nobody is that mad on to pad things out. But hey, if you're a fan of the rods, this game has you covered. I was interested in extreme metal, prog rock, punk, and I definitely feel underserved here. The inclusion of mastered puppets is nice, even if it's really obvious why this is here, and there is some death, which is nice, but it's live versions, which is a choice. I'm guessing a licensing one. So let's look at the mechanics. Rocksmith has always been the absolute best mechanic for learning guitar via computer. The view is second to none. The result display at the top, which shows the missed notes and which sections you've nailed, is excellent. The tracking is really good. In general, it's great. The new version does have some missing features, such as the ability to create your own playlist or set a filtered selections of songs to randomly play for a period, and you did have those in Rocksmith 2014. Also, I couldn't see anything for the improv jam stuff, where you could just set a chord sequence and instruments and play over the top. I mean, it's possible they will put these in the future, but they're not here now. You can add your own arrangements for tracks. I suspect Ubisoft are hoping people will add these in for those tracks that only have chord tracks at the moment. But then, if they do, we're into the territory of the kind of tabs you get at Ultimate Guitar. They're not always accurate, and you've got your own choice as to whether you'll trust them or not. There are learning tracks, and there are also exercises. These are a nice touch. Also, it shows videos explaining some of the basics, but while I could find some of these in the home screen, assuming the home screen deigned to show me them, I couldn't seem to deliberately find some of them, such as the Metal Techniques video set. And all the videos are streamed, so if your internet connection drops, it's tough luck, mate. And let's be honest, if you want to watch guitar technique videos, there's a metric ton of them right here on YouTube for free. I had some technical issues at first with Rocksmith. It was choosing one of the outputs on my sound card I don't use, and there was no way I could see during the game setup to change this. Although in the menu later when you got everything set up, you can. Windows thought it was using the right output, but what I was getting was just pure silence. So I had to disable all the other outputs to get it working properly. Now I appreciate not everyone will have an external sound card with multiple outputs, but if you do, then be aware this might happen. Once you go through the full setup, you can actually change this. You can probably tell that I'm not impressed with the content at launch. Rocksmith is still the best gamification of guitar playing I've seen, but I would really wait until they improve the content they have. At the moment, unless you're a big Boston fan, there's probably not a ton of stuff for you here. The mechanism works and works really well, and as long as they add back the missing features and get better tracks, this has the potential to win the guitar market. But for now, it's disappointing and really not worth the asking subscription price.